Hi, my name is Claudia, and I will be presenting the Cultural Reflections Promoting Diversity in Education. I come from a cultural identity and worldview that form me as an advocate that is shaped by my faith based values, my commitment to equity, and dedication to serving others. For my stewardship of resources, overcoming barriers, and helping to build bridges. My role or roles as an advocate, educator, and professional speaker connect my spiritual beliefs with Christ with my professional actions in servicing and supporting people and students alike, also the parents. My foundation of being a lifelong learner and advocate comes from my mother. She always taught me to speak up and fight for what is right. My identity is also rooted in Venezuelan roots, and it reminds me that I am not only American but a spice of both worlds. And this actually aids me to understand and include diversity in the classroom for all. My foundation of faith came to me when I was around 19 years old, and it built my view on faith, humans, and teaching overall, believing in teaching of Christ, love, and grace and redemption, to do my best to show kindness, forgiveness, and seek justice for the vulnerable ones that feel afraid, unheard, or unseen. Integrating my belief in shared love and care for others due to Imagio Dei and wanting to honestly and fiercely have all the students feel like they belong and supported will be my lifelong goal. Imagio Dei says they have value and they need support, and I will support them. The impact on the educational philosophies that I adopt, such as student centered focus, will lead to a more inclusive environment in the classroom. This comes from my Christian belief as well that each student is valuable and purposeful, and that they will learn best with caring teaching methods that support them. I see every student as valuable. Therefore, I will intentionally acknowledge them by planning curricula and integrating diversity and inclusivity in the class with them. As Banks said in 2008, when students' identities are affirmed, they perform better. Part of the inclusivity that I will integrate is students of all learning styles and their abilities and their accommodations for support. Only when students feel truly loved, respected, and acknowledged, and there is real compassion from their teachers, they will access that part of themselves that can trust them, which then builds deep bridges and connections not only to the subject learned, but to the teacher. As Ladson and Biling said in 2009, effective teachers also build bridges between content and students' prior understanding. As an educator and child of God, I know I can do no less than 100% for my students and parents. I feel deeply and morally to my duty to know feeling this way about my profession, as this was a gift from God. This deepens my dedication and persistence to each student's success and for them to reach their highest potential. Equality in education system gives everyone the same resources. However, equity gives resources based on students' individual needs. Freire said that traditional schools fail disadvantaged students by treating them as passive empty vessels, but equity means tailoring students in their learning styles and individual education plans. Inclusion needs equity based strategies that address each student's background and learning styles. This will stay away from making the mistake of treating all of the students the same, which then ignores disparities in the learning needs. I will advocate for equity and fairness while providing inclusive education. And tied to every individual, there is race. And although we know we grown from how racism used to be, the reality it still hinders some educational opportunities. So we would need to acknowledge this and properly educate students on this and create inclusive, racially accepted environments. The impact that history has shown us in education system is that there is racial discrimination and they had towards minorities and the black race. They had segregation, which came along with educational disparities, which means that they would teach less advanced classes to colored people. To start breaking these barriers, they had to stand up for themselves and with others as their advocates. To combat against racism in education and bring inclusivity, we need to provide materials and assignments with appropriate history that teaches on race and culturally relevant curricula. By providing this type of curricula, it breaks barriers and builds trust and safe place for them to just be themselves holistically and through their cultural identity. As a Christian with a gift of teaching, We are even more responsible to create a class or school and community built on equity and love and acceptance. With the faith I have and gift, I will do my best to each student feel valued, loved, and seen and supported. My journey to understanding my cultural identity shifted my perspective from passive observer to active advocate. As an educator, this means moving beyond diversity checklists. I intentionally design spaces that challenge inequities, spark critical conversations, and empower students to own their own narratives. My goal is to integrate classroom teaching, public speaking, and equity advocacy to build diverse, inclusive learning spaces. Professionally, I aim to lead multicultural education initiatives using my voice and teaching experience to reshape institutional policies, empower historically undeserved students. I am driven by a passion for educational equity, and my future career is dedicated to championing fairness, inclusivity, and robust accommodations across the entire educational sector, both public and private, to ensure no student is left behind. Lastly, my commitment as a speaker, advocate, and educator is rooted in a profound responsibility to fight for genuine inclusion, meaningful change, and the practical implementation of support systems that embrace all cultures, diversities, and learning abilities.